What makes something look good? Over the past 5 years, I've created a lot of apps, websites, and content online, and I love making my stuff visually aesthetic. So I've boiled it down to 5 key principles that I keep in my mind when creating. Let's dive into the first principle on how to make something look good. Number 1, less is more. So here's an idea. Try addition by subtraction. So instead of piling on more and more features, try to remove as much as possible while leaving only what is absolutely essential. So here's a tip. Instead of using too many colors, which can make your design look a little amateurish like a kindergarten painting, instead just choose one primary color and use different shades of it. This is a secret I use all the time, and it just makes everything look so much better in my opinion. I love this idea of less is more because simple is beautiful. Let's compare 2 examples. If you look at Yahoo, the page is filled with information. Let's compare this to Google. It's one of the most simplest interfaces. Just a search bar, no distractions, no clutter. This just looks super clean. Principle number 2, consistency. Did you know that what we find beautiful and attractive in people is actually the symmetry of their face more than their individual facial features? In a similar way, we can apply this idea to our designs. So whether that's color, font, size, padding, whatever design aesthetic you're going with, make sure to just maintain that look consistently throughout the entire app or website. This consistency not only enhances the visual appeal, but it also creates a more seamless and professional user experience. And by the way guys, go check out Eraser. It's the whiteboard app I use to draw my diagrams and mockups, but you can use it to draw anything really, so I'll link them below. Make sure to check them out. Design isn't about how something looks, it's about how something works. For this one, let me just tell you a quick story about how back in the day, all phones had physical keyboards. And I find this so interesting because Steve Jobs was then like,
well, what we're going to do is get rid of all these buttons and just make a giant screen.
And the resulting iPhone definitely looked really sleek and visually stunning. But removing the keyboard was more of a design choice based on functionality rather than just appearance, you know? So when you think about making something look good, remember it's not just about color choices or curving the corners. The purpose and functionality of your app dictates how it should look. In other words, you gotta look inward before you look outward. Speaking of looking inward, the 4th principle is identity or brand. Good looks can ultimately be subjective, so I feel like what's more important than just looking good is that it has a unique style that people can easily identify with. So this could be through typography, like the font you use, or it could be through a certain color palette. So just to use color as an example, color is fundamental to the app's identity. Now let's do a little experiment. I'm going to put some colors on the screen and I want you to think about which app comes to mind first. So this kind of sky blue reminds me of Twitter. And this kind of primary blue is Facebook. This kind of red looks like YouTube. And this sort of black green looks very much like Spotify. And this doesn't just apply to apps or brands. Like if I showed you these colors, then you would think of Argentina. Purple and gold, this is LA Lakers. So when you're creating your app, I want you to think about which color best represents the identity of your app. And finally, principle number 5 is developing good taste. How do you know if something looks good or not? At the end of the day, it is kind of subjective. So when people tell me they don't know what looks good, that's a lie. If I asked you to try out some kind of food, you would know instantly if you like the taste of it or not. It takes less than a second and you don't even need to think about it. So similarly, if you look at an app or website, you would know if it looks good to you or not. This is your taste. Use this to guide what you create and also work on improving your taste. Just like trying different foods can refine your palate, exposing yourself to different designs will improve your taste. And for that, I always feel like Dribbble is good to just have a look around for inspiration. I hope these 5 design principles help you think about it in a different way. Make sure to subscribe and I'll catch you in the next one.